Hi everyone, it's Jessica, and it is time for my friends and I to play the Mystery Envelope Challenge once again. We do this on the 25th of every month, and the other ladies in the Makers with Heart group get this exact same envelope. This month, our friend Lori sent it to us, and let's see what she has included in this month's envelope. We have a couple of pieces of Harbor cardstock and a few pieces of pattern paper from the As You Grow collection from Close to My Heart. Lori's rules were pretty straightforward. We had to build our project on a piece of white daisy cardstock. And if we used all of those silver glitter gems, we could pull in 2 additional papers. And so I pulled this one to start with. It's from that same collection as the star paper. And so I think I'm going to use that blue gingham there, and then I will pull in another one later. So I'm going to use these pieces to scrapbook this selfie of my husband and I on our anniversary a few years ago. So I did spend quite a bit of time thinking, contemplating what to do with these pieces for this challenge. And then basically I was inspired by that one extra little strip of that star pattern that she had included in the envelope. So I decided to take that bigger piece of the star pattern and cut it into strips as well. And if I remember correctly, I cut these ones into 3/4 of an inch, and I believe they are 6 inches long. So I'm just going to cut these pieces up. And what I think that I'm going to do is take the pieces that she has sent me, as well as a little bit of that blue gingham piece over to the left there. And with some strips of paper, I'm going to layer them horizontally in the middle of my piece of white daisy cardstock. And that's basically going to become the base for where my picture will sit. I really have only that one photo. We are not very good at taking selfies, and we were out for dinner on our anniversary. And so we just decided to take a picture. And so that's kind of the only one I have to work with. And so since there's not going to be, a ton of photos on this page, I feel like I need to have something else kind of going on to take up all of that white space. So I don't remember what I cut that one to, but obviously it's a little bit wider than the 3/4 of an inch or the 1/2 inch strips that I have going on. And I'm going to make that one kind of the focal piece. So right now it's cut to 12 inches, but I believe I do cut it down to 10 so that it just has more of a presence. And then what I'm going to do is using my Harbor ink and a foam blending tool, I'm going to take some time to go around all of the edges of the paper and just use the same color ink to edge distress each of them. So for my second piece of pattern or of paper that I'm going to bring in is I'm going to use some cardstock in the New England Ivy color. And I'm using both sides of it, so the lighter side and the darker side, and then I'm going to double mat my photo just to make it a little bit bigger. And then I also used an edge distressing tool for both mats just to kind of rough it up a little bit and add some texture and interest. Okay, I'm ready to begin. Now, let me just kind of lay out what I'm thinking here. I have the idea in my head. I'm not really following a pattern, and if you have watched any of my videos, you know I really actually enjoy using patterns. And when I go rogue, it definitely takes a lot of thinking for me to figure out what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to kind of lay these out and play around with it a little bit. I don't want them to be evenly lined up. I'm thinking kind of a staggered step sort of orientation. And the other thing that I need to think about is the other rule that Lori included in this month's challenge is that we have to do some sort of ink technique or inking on the background of our white daisies. So it could be anything really, distress oxides, blending, stencils, any kind of ink technique. So now that I kind of know where these are going to go, I'm going to mark them with a pencil here in a second just so I can kind of keep them in the right formation. And I think that I'm going to add a little bit of color to the white space just around them. And that's going to be my inking technique. So I'm going to reach for my Glacier ink pad, and then I've got one of those blending brushes that looks like a makeup brush. And I'm going to use that to apply the Glacier color all the way around. So like I said, I'm grabbing a pencil and I'm just going to put a little mark at the end of each of those strips of paper so that way I know how far out I need to come. And I just really want it to be like a light wash of color. I don't need it to be a lot, but just something to kind of create a halo effect around those strips of pattern paper. So here we go. I marked it with a pencil. And later that didn't end up working out so well because I couldn't tell what was where. Had kind of marked it so lightly that it didn't end up being all that helpful. But so you can see what I'm doing here is just grabbing some ink on my brush and then swiping it in a circular motion. Now, especially if you have a darker color, you're going to want to use a light hand so that you and start like off of your project and kind of move on to the space that you're going to see so you don't have that harsh line or mark where you first begin. But this glacier ink is really light in color when you use it this way, and so I didn't really have that problem. I was able to just kind of put my brush directly to paper and then start blending, and I didn't have any trouble with that. So that was kind of a nice thing. And now that I've got the right hand side, I'm going to do that same process where I mark with a pencil on the left hand side. And then these ones, I'm kind of scooting them over, you'll see, before I put my pencil mark. That way I don't have to worry about erasing my pencil marks, and I can just kind of adhere the piece back over it. Okay, so like I said, it didn't end up working as well as I wanted to. And when I started gluing these down, I was looking at them like, I don't think that's exactly how I had them before, but it's fine. They just had to go down horizontally. So yeah, I did have to erase a few pencil marks, but that was the idea. I was trying to be organized. As you can see here, I'm like, is that a mark or is it just something on the paper? I don't know. So like I said, I will adhere these all down. I'm using my Versamat and my T-square ruler. Love that. It keeps everything straight. And I'm also not being really picky about the spacing between each strip of paper. So I actually kind of want it to be, not exact or even. That way it's a little bit more of an organic look. So here's my final product. And now I am ready to kind of think about the placement of my photo. Definitely those pieces are not where I had originally laid them out. So then I had to fuss with exactly where the photo would go. Okay, so I want to add a little bit more detail to the background. So I'm thinking some gloss spray splatters, and I pulled both the night color, which is a deep navy blue, and the gilt, but I decided to go with the night color for two reasons. One, I have a lot of blue going on and I wanted to stick with that. And then two, my husband actually really hates the color gold. And so I was like, well, it is a picture of the two of us. I won't use a color that he detests on there. So I went with the blue, and I think that worked out really well. So just tapping it around inside my splatter box to hopefully keep the mess contained. And the one thing I do love about this gloss spray is it dries so quickly. By the time I kind of put the splatter box away and everything, clean up, it's already dry on my page and I'm ready to move on. So just adding a whole bunch of splatters all the way around, even over top of the pattern paper. And I think that it works really nicely with that glacier inking that is on the back of the page. Okay, so I have gone into my stash and I found these I have my wooden stars and buttons that I use all the time. And then also I found this title. And then I have pulled from White Daisy cardstock. This is that fancy doily thin cut that just came out from the Hope and Kindness collection. And I had one of those cut already, so I just grabbed it and I stuck it behind my photo, just popped up on foam tape. And I have to apologize to the ladies in this group because when we do this challenge, whoever sends the envelope out gets to set the rules. And Lori actually didn't say anything about using additional embellishments. And so it wasn't really, I don't know, allowed is the right word, but it wasn't really part of that challenge. And I had grabbed all of these wooden embellishments and just started sticking them down, and I wasn't even thinking about it. In my defense, I was a little distracted at this point of creating this page because my son had come into the room, and he's 5 years old, and he was playing behind me and asking all sorts of questions about Canada. He has this weird fascination with Canada. And he wanted to know when we were going to go there and how long does it take to run all the way around Canada. And, to say like days, weeks, months, that was not specific enough of an answer for him. So I had to make something up. Then he wanted to know if a cheetah did it, how fast would it be then? Are there any cheetahs in Canada? Why aren't there cheetahs in Canada? And so on and so forth. So I was really just kind of answering questions about Canada and cheetahs and not really thinking about the rules of this challenge. So I apologize, ladies, that I pulled in these wooden embellishments, but they do work. So, all right, off camera, I have stitched those buttons onto my page because I don't like to leave them naked. And then I do have to use these silver glitter gems because that was why I was able to bring in those 2 extra pieces of paper. So I'm going to add those around as well. And then one other little final touch. This is a little sneak peek from a stamp set coming out in August called Background Textures. And I'm going to grab the little X's that are on there. They remind me almost like stitch marks. And I'm just going to stamp them around a few of my paper strips and also that Harbor color. And that's pretty much it. So I'll do that stamping and then I will add the silver glitter gems. Once those are on there, then my layout will be complete. So thanks for coming by today to watch. This is one of my favorite challenges that I participate in, and I know my crafty friends in the Makers with Heart group really enjoy participating in it as well. We all release our mystery envelope videos on the 25th of the month, and we do not show each other our projects before that day, so it's always a surprise to us as well to see how we each took the same envelope of items and rules and use them in some very different ways, but some really just so fun to see how everybody's creativity works and how they can take just a couple little items and turn them into something really pretty and unique and different from the other ladies in the group. So much fun. I hope that you enjoy watching everyone's. I will leave links down below in the description box so that you can check out all of their projects as well. And I am a close to my heart maker, and so I do love using all of my close to my heart products. If I will leave links to everything that I use down below, so you are welcome to check that out as well. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much for coming by today to watch, guys. I'm going to leave you here with a couple of still shots. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting. Bye.